There's like 4 in the press room. Yeah. I even took one from the press room and there's still like 4. It's kind of a bummer you can't keep it in your car. The players are here. Go for it. Perfect guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage your First Lady, Suzanne Youngkin, and the 74th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin.
That was not going to pay. But real follow-up is why didn't you pay for personal
Exactly. That's personal security. That's right.
That's the plan. So first of all, welcome to City Stadium. Home of your Richmond Kickers, and soon to be our newest women's soccer team, the Richmond Ivy, who will debut this Saturday night at 6 p.m. History about City Stadium. This has been a community hub for the Richmond community since 1929, bringing Richmond together for different kinds of events, including the Armstrong Walker Classic football game from 1939 to 1979. Billy Graham preaching here in 1956 with my dad sat up in the stands. ECU Soccer World Cup qualifiers for the men, the Mia Hand-led women's soccer team, U of R football, and a myriad of other things, including farmers markets, 9/11 stair walks, marathon and 10K training, as well as concerts. But today, on Virginia's Fentanyl Awareness Day, it is important for all the coaches to reflect on the critical role that each of us plays in the lives of our young athletes and organizations. Connecting with your players who may be struggling with social, mental, and physical issues will be much more meaningful than just winning a game. The bond between your players and our coaches has a lasting impact. Please continue to invest in your players. You're making a huge impact on our RVA community. It's now my great pleasure to introduce the First Lady of Virginia, Suzanne Youngkin.
Can't thank you enough for your time, your energy, your attention to this most important issue. I, however, would like to begin with a quick moment of silence for all of the lives lost to fentanyl poisoning here in the Commonwealth of Virginia and in our nation and around the world. Please join me. Okay, thank you very, very much. I'm emotional. Thank you, Coach Mike. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Delane and Tom. Thank you, Secretary Littell. Thank you, all the friends that are here. Thank you for all the friends that we have yet to meet. We are now a collective family. We are a family fighting fentanyl. And you're a part of that by being here today. You're invested in it, and we could not be more grateful. On this National and Virginia Fentanyl Awareness Day, I've just returned from the Roanoke Valley. I was there with a wonderful team from our Department of Health. They were doing revive trainings. In addition, we cut the ribbon on a new recovery facility there, an amazing home that is going to invest itself in the renewal and the re-entry to society of persons who deserve it. And it was very exciting to see the energy in Roanoke around this great day and this exciting development that will help people. I'm going to give you a little bit of the data. I know many of you all are aware of this, and I bet that God will speak about it as well, but just some highlights. So, on average, 5 Virginians die a day from fentanyl poisoning. Just last year, Well over 2,500 Virginians died of overdose, with 2,000 of those, more than 75%, being from fentanyl. A study from the CDC showed that for the number of Americans aged 10 to 19 who are dying from a drug overdose, 84% of those deaths involve fentanyl. 15% of America's children aged 5 to 17 recently received treatment for a mental health condition, and in 21, more than 4 in 10 students felt consistently sad or hopeless. Nearly 1/3 experienced poor mental health. Overdoses among teenagers have doubled in the last decade, and 23% of student athletes report using pain medication in just the last year. So what we're seeing here is an intersection of a lot of realities: poor mental health, pain medications used for sports injuries that then can quickly turn into dependence, and an illicit drug that is pouring over our borders and is being made in labs here in the United States that is killing people. And I am, for one, am so glad we're talking about it. That's the first step to healing, right? As coaches, you are on the front lines. Glenn and I are the parents of 4 children, 3 boys and a girl, all in their young 20s. And let me tell you, you have a lot more influence over our children and other children than we ever did or other parents do. We know the difference that you make in their lives, and we're counting on you to be a big part of the solution here in the Commonwealth. That is why the First Lady's office has joined with the Department of Health, the Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth, our Attorney General, the DEA, and so many other stakeholders to create an awareness campaign around fentanyl called It Only Takes One. And what we're saying to people is the obvious, which is it only takes one pill, one joint, one vape to take a person's life. But here's the good news. It only takes one coach, one athletic director, one parent, one teacher, one doctor, one friend of a parent, one grandparent, one friend, to tell someone that they are cared for, that they are loved, and that fentanyl is dangerous and in everything. 7 out of 10 pills that our DEA gets in their hands are laced with fentanyl. It takes the equivalent of a gram of salt to kill someone. And young people are particularly vulnerable because their bodies do not metabolize it, this very dangerous drug. So again, this is an all-hands-on-deck campaign. We are using digital ads, social media, flyers, engagements, educational resources in our schools, Revive trainings. Revive trainings is where you learn how to use life-saving naloxone, and our wonderful Department of Health is going to be here today. Thank you, ladies, for being here, to make sure that you, too, know how to be equipped to save a life. I say all the time, First Lady carries a big, huge bag of supplies everywhere she goes. Right next to the lipstick is the naloxone. And so I want everybody else to make sure you have it in your bags and in your locker rooms and on your person everywhere you go in the Commonwealth. The last thing I would love for you to do is visit itonlytakesoneva.com, and here's why. Just today, we are launching a form, if you will, and it's called Say It Before Summer. It's a pledge that we would like everyone that's here today and everyone that you know to take. And that pledge essentially says, I, Suzanne Youngkin, will speak to someone that I love about the dangers of fentanyl before or during summer. We would love to see countless Virginians sign this pledge so that we know this conversation is spreading, that is permeating into all communities, faith, work, schools. We just want everyone to know about the dangers so that we can be more careful and ultimately so we can save lives. And now I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming someone to speak to you who I think is going to be really meaningful. Tom and Delane Mazik are dear friends of ours from our small community of Great Falls, Virginia. We raised our children together. They're the parents of 3 amazing boys. And our boys all played youth sports together and went to schools together. We're so proud of them for their bravery. And they are really the ones, the family, who set the Youngkin family on our exploration journey around the dangers of fentanyl. So Tom, please join us. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm having my wife come up here as well, my wife Delane. Unfortunately, I'm here to share a story with you, a first-hand story of how it just takes one and how it actually has happened. And I want to share our story in the hopes that it's something that you can take away and prevent a recurrence of this and use to help your student athletes, players, coaches understand just how significant this problem really is and a couple of small things, what you can do to prevent it. We lost our 21-year-old son 3 years ago, Grayson, to an unintentional fentanyl overdose. I'll tell you more about how that happened, but I'll talk to you about Ray a little bit first so you know what kind of person he was. He was not only a son that I loved dearly, but he's also one of my best friends. And we were very candid and open with each other, and we were similar in a lot of ways. But like any father who would be proud, he was a great kid and a great athlete, and we all feed into sports sort of world. And also somebody who has coached myself, who played college football. We all would love nothing more than to see our kids succeed on the playing field. And Gray was an excellent athlete. He was all conference in football at his high school. He was team captain. Same thing on rugby, captain in all conference. Really accomplished. He was recruited for football, decided not to go play football in college, and just wanted to enjoy college life as a student. And he was at Clemson University. We lost him at the beginning of his senior year, his first month back. He was on top of his game. He had a lot of friends. He loved the school. He was on track to graduate in the spring out of the business school. Loved his fraternity, a great girlfriend. He had the world in the palm of his hand. He liked to have fun. He was not somebody who was had a drug abuse issue. He wasn't a chronic user of drugs. But he also didn't abstain from things that maybe weren't the best for him. So he was in that great land of in-between like most kids are at that age. He liked to have his fun. He and I would have conversations. His mother would have conversations with him very candidly and openly about, hey, first of all, you shouldn't be doing anything. You shouldn't be doing, of course, like we all do as parents. But secondly, if you're going to get something, please don't get it off at the street. You don't know what it is. Like most guys and gals at his age, they have tons of confidence and trust in their friends. And sometimes that can be misplaced. Well, in Gray's case, when he went back to school, I know that he was had a back problem. He was in pain that September. And he took a little blue pill that he'd gotten from somebody he knew, thinking we believed it was Percocet. He wasn't partying. He wasn't out with friends. He was actually at home at his apartment on campus with his 2 roommates. And took his pill and went to bed. He never woke up again. His girlfriend called the next day to his roommate to say, hey, Gray's got a test, I usually hear from him by now and make sure he's up and going. And they went in and found him, and he'd already been gone for hours. One of, by far the worst event of my life was what ensued when the next morning 3 Fairfax County police officers showed up at our door in Great Falls beautifully to deliver the news that our son had passed. It was horrifying. It's like what you see on TV in the movies. Came in, they shared the news with us as empathetically as they could, and I just remember it was surreal, as if I was listening outside of that room and just watching it happen. And then anguish, dropping to my knees and just screaming uncontrollably, top of my lungs. It was just incredible pain that I wish on no other person, no other father, no other friend, no other mother. It was the most horrifying event of my life. So, fast forward a bit as we get through this, right? And you're never truly through it, but you try to come to terms with, well, what can we do with it? What good can come out of this? And Delaney and I have pledged up ourselves to see, can we get the message out here? Can people understand how this can happen to anybody? So that if we can prevent the recurrence of this, if we can prevent another death, if we can cause somebody to think twice about taking one little pill, if we can do that, then that's goodness that comes out of losing a son. So we, behind the great support initiative that the governor and the first lady, secretary, and their teams have started and are well underway with this effort for multiple years now, we try to contribute in whatever small way we can by telling the story. What we take away from this that I could share with you maybe as coaches, administrators, as professionals in the business, as a leader of youth trying to develop and grow these kids, what can I tell you that I would share firsthand? Well, I'll say this, first of all. Do not believe for a minute that this is something that happens outside of your world, that it's happening maybe on the other side of the tracks, that it doesn't happen to athletes. And admittedly, athletes who are focused on keeping themselves in shape and are driven by programs to succeed, that does a lot to keeping them out of trouble, right? And the bad part of that is a tendency to think that they may not be caught up in that whole situation. But this is the difference between fentanyl today and some of the drugs that maybe you may have seen or experienced or been around in previous generations. Typically, those took some kind of massive overdose, or it took some kind of habitual use before it led to a death or a calamity. In this case, this truly is one pill, or one intake could kill you. This is exactly what happened to my son. He didn't want to die. He didn't know what he was taking. The autopsy report that came back, the toxicology report came back 2 months later, revealed that what he thought was a Percocet pill that he got off the street with 100% fentanyl. That's what killed him. Very few people take fentanyl intentionally. It's usually mixed in with something else. It's usually replaced something else. It's counterfeit in many cases. The most prevalent thing that we see, I know up in Northern Virginia, is the little blue pills. And many young people take that thinking that, what can that do? Lots of other people are taking it. It's just one event. It's not the reality. The reality is there's no regulation or control. Fentanyl is so strong, as Suzanne pointed out. And there's no regulation of how much is going into what the dealers are making. So it's a great risk, much greater risk than any drug you've experienced before. And it can kill like that. And that's exactly what happened to my strong, top of his game son. took him out without any second thoughts whatsoever. He never had a chance. So I would tell you that it starts, two things I would tell you here, or takeaways, is one is awareness amongst you all as the developers and leaders of young people. Don't think for a second this can't happen outside of you. It's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. So you need to be educated. You need to understand. You owe that to the people that you lead so you can prevent this from happening to them. Second thing is education and understanding and awareness by the student athletes themselves has to be undertaken. It starts with you, but then it's got to transcend to them as well. So they need to understand what's going on. And here's the risk. A lot of them are in great physical shape, so they think they're immune. They're confident, sometimes even cocky, right? Hey, that didn't stop me. Or if I just do this once, it's not going to stop me. It's not going to cause any harm. So there is issues with that where it's counterintuitive, and they think that they're in control of everything. But this is an unseen danger that comes up under them. So what I would ask as a takeaway, just understanding our story, is to educate yourselves, get an understanding of what the risk is, and then there are many programs out there, there are many small educational forums that can be undertaken by the student athletes to help them understand what the risk is as well. That'll close, but again, thank you for hearing my message. Thank you to the governor and First Lady for all the great work doing with this, and Secretary as well, and for their teams, and for you for taking the time to listen to this. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody, or good afternoon, excuse me. It's a privilege and honor to be here. I have to say that I was a player here back in the day. This was our home field, University of Richmond. And so kind of brought back memories of a long time ago running out here on the field. For coaches to be here now with the message of how we can impact the people that we're responsible for. We've heard about the impact of lost ones, families, hopes, dreams, aspirations being dashed. But the thing about coaches, and the thing that we do, is we are able to inspire, lift up, encourage, promote the kind of healthy ideas and thought processes that we should be thinking about, talking about. What we demonstrate, how we conduct ourselves around them. When somebody walks by you, you ask, hey, how you doing? They're like, I'm doing all right. Sometimes we check the box off and say, okay, that's all right, see, it's all right. But no, turn back around and say, hey, listen, come here. Tell me how your family's going. How are you doing? What's happening? And get them to articulate and talk to you. It's easy for them to say, I'm doing all right, coach, and then keep on walking. You don't find out about that thing or those things that might be impacting you. We have to talk about mental health and wellness. We have to talk about what they put into their body. We have to talk about sleep deprivation. We have to talk about all those things. Because people don't care about how much you know until they know about how much you care. So when you reach out and you talk to someone genuinely about what's going on in their lives, it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. And excuse me as I get into a coaching vernacular, and I'm a visual person. And if you can imagine that on the opposite end of this stadium right here are uprights. Imagine this, that we're at the 50-yard line. Some people look at it and say, well, you know what, that's a long way to go score. That's too far for me to have any kind of impact. Some people look at situations and circumstances as glass half filled, glass half empty. I choose to, and I hope that as we're talking about the impact that we have with these young people that we deal with is we look at it as the glass half filled. What does it need? It needs pouring into. So we have doctors, we have politicians, we have advocates, we have teachers, we have everybody. If we all just think that we just have a glass of water, okay? You can't water the whole field, but have a glass of water and then just pour a little bit into that young person, that young man, that young girl, whatever it might be. You might not know much about the drug fentanyl, but you might know a lot about self-esteem. You might know about how to encourage somebody. You might know about, sharing your thoughts, your process. You might pick them up and take them to a ride to where they need to go. You might be able to do something. So with your glass of water, take it and pour it into them. The governor and first lady have come up with initiatives that we're hearing about that are putting not only time, talent, and resources, but treasures to it. Some of us that don't have the treasures, or the talent, or the time, we all have something to give. We all have something to do to pour into a young person. And as coaches, such a tremendous influence that we have. And so, I guess I just say that, I'm from Virginia. I went to high school at Taft High School and graduated at Youngkin. I was an assistant coach at the University of Richmond, at William-Mary, and at UVA. And came back to be the head coach of all three of those places. So I'm from Virginia. I got stakes in this place, in this area. And so giving back is just part of what we should do. We should do this. And so I guess in closing, because I can give you a halftime speech, I'm not going to do that, all right? I can go there, but I'm not going to go there, all right? I would just say that, again, if you can imagine there's a young boy, girl, whatever it is, at the 50-yard line, and all of us in this room have a glass of water. Individually, we can't do it by ourselves, but collectively, we can just pour into them, encourage it. The person knows how to deal with addiction. The person knows how to deal with any social issues or problems they might have. A wellness person, a teacher, a doctor. If we just collectively pour into it, then all of a sudden we move the needle and we get closer to the goal line. We get closer to scoring. And that's what it's about to be. So, I appreciate this opportunity. Like I said, I'm from this place. I'm from Virginia. I'm from this place. My father, Wilson London, 35 years, retired military, passed away last March. And I wear his dog tags to remind me that it's about service. It's about culture for service. It's about doing other things to get out of your comfort zone sometimes. To step out and do a difference. So, with that being said, I'm thankful again for this opportunity to share and speak. And I'll be quiet now, okay? But thank you for being here, and also thank you for taking that step, taking that glass or whatever you have to offer, and pour it into somebody for something to help move the needle so we can cross the goal line and score. On May 9th, 2023, our governor signed an Executive Order 26, crushing the fentanyl epidemic, strengthening Virginia's interdiction and enforcement response to the fentanyl crisis. This was a first of its kind. Comprehensive fentanyl strategy as part of the Right Help, Right Now behavioral health initiative launched by the governor. Together with the First Lady, they made a formidable impact on addressing drug overdoses, which are the top of the list for unnatural deaths in our state. The top of the list. The governor is many things to many people: son, husband, father. But he's also one of us, an athlete. Played basketball at Rice University. Wish I had you as a wide receiver in the red zone so I could throw it to you. Score a touchdown. But it's my honor and privilege to introduce the 74th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Governor Youngkin.
everybody for coming out today. I know all of you have really important places to be, and to dedicate time to come here and talk about something that oftentimes isn't fully understood, and yet became. And that is what leadership is all about. It's about showing up. It's about understanding that, in fact, we have responsibilities that are outside of drawing up X's and O's and scoring touchdowns, or, in my view, missing three-point shots. There's a lot more to it. I want to thank Suzanne for all the great work that she's doing across the Commonwealth. It's amazing to see you do what you do. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here at City Stadium. The history here is amazing. Thank you for reviving what this place should be, must be. We talk a lot about the word team. Teammates matter. I have to say, the most influential people in my life, listen to my parents, right there with them with coaches and teammates. And Suzanne's right, I spent probably more time with coaches and teammates than even I did with my parents during many years. And so there's a chance here to impact lives in a way that you all know. Is Coach mad at me today? Why didn't I play? Of course, I never believed it was because I wasn't good. Coach is mad at me today. We all know this. And that role of a coach, that role of an athletic director, that role of a teammate in an athlete's life is truly unparalleled in those moments. And you see, the word coach means a lot more than teaching someone how to do a back cut or run the right route. The word coach means a lot more. And you go to an Old English dictionary and you look up the word coach, and it actually has a picture of a vehicle. A vehicle that was used to get someone from point A to point B. It was transportation. But you can think of that definition of the role of coach today. It's not to get someone from point A to point B through transportation, but through influence on their life. How do you actually help young people get from point A to point B? Yeah, that may be, coach, I need a ride to practice. But oftentimes it's someone in their life that is searching a bit and needs an adult, needs a mentor. Sometimes it needs a stern voice. I'll never forget when I was trying to decide whether I was going to transfer from Rice University back to Virginia, because my freshman year hadn't gone the way it was. It was a coach who said, "Quit being such a you made a good decision in life. Stick with it." Look back on that. And that coach helps me be a better person. So this role of transitioning from high school to college goes smoother with a great coach. These challenges of going from college to the pros is easier with a great coach. The idea of going from youth to adulthood is better with a great coach. This is the role you have, but I'm piling on, yeah, because it's a lot more than playing games. I actually look back at my own journey, and it was coaches along the way that stopped and gave me the most amazing advice. So this is our opportunity. When it comes to fentanyl, I hope that what you grasp is this is not the end result of someone that has a drug addiction. Yes, it can be. But what we're seeing across the nation today, across the Commonwealth today, is the absolute poisoning of our young people through counterfeit drugs. I signed another executive order this year to mandate that our high schools notify parents when there's been a drug overdose in their school-wide. Because what we saw over and over again was that there were counterfeit drugs, and it's predominantly Percocet, that is being infused with fentanyl, and the next thing you know, there's 10, 12, 15 overdoses in one hotspot. trying to die, and they're not buying fentanyl. They think they're buying Percocet. This is a nasty, terrible supply chain of something that in fact kills purposely, not by accident. Folks are trying to hook them on a drug that will make them dependent, and if they die in the process, so be it. That's what this supply chain is all about. Great story. It's not only tragic and heartbreaking, but it serves as a wake-up call. One of your athletes has a sore knee. He tweaked it in a game. The trainer told them to do rehab. They want to do more than rehab. They go online and literally through Snapchat think they're buying Percocet. An athlete misses practice the next day because they are dead. That is the reality. That is happening all over the Commonwealth of Virginia, in the country. This past month in April was Operation Free in Virginia. And what we did with law enforcement cooperation at the federal, at the state, and the local level was work to interdict the flow of fentanyl, illegal drugs, into Virginia. In 1 month, Virginia State Police seized 51 pounds of fentanyl. Now, let me tell you, that's 51 pounds of fentanyl. That's enough fentanyl to kill every single Virginian, 8.7 million people, 3 times over. And that was just seized in 1 month. This is real. And these are people who are literally trying to hook or kill the young people across the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, how are we going to beat this? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to continue to support law enforcement to do what they need to do. That's the second thing we're going to do is make sure everyone who can put naloxone in their pocket is going to have it in their pocket and learn how to use it. This is not hard. I was a little intimidated when I took my first training. It's literally nasal spray, folks. And you need it. We had someone overdosing literally in front of the governor's mansion. And our Capitol Police, who are so well trained, saved a life simply because they had naloxone in their pocket. Third thing we're going to do is make sure that everybody understands the reality that we're living in today. In Virginia, there's 170,000 students who participate in high school athletics. That's an amazing number, 170,000. Each coach needs to take their team and sit down with them and say, here's the reality. You take something that isn't prescribed by your doctor and picked up at a pharmacy and acknowledged by your parents, you are taking a tremendous risk of dying. Full stop, no questions asked. Each of you has a responsibility to do that with your teams. That satisfies the First Lady's obligation of having you tell somebody during summertime. Second of all, college coaches need to recognize that the pressure on college athletes is beyond anything that we possibly could understand. Every day, they are put in the spotlight. Every day, they either perform or don't perform. Those are those moments where, in fact, they are either feeling good about themselves or bad about themselves. Every college coach has the same responsibility. There's 500,000 student athletes that compete at the NCAA level, Division I, II, or III, across this country. That's 500,000 leaders. That's 500,000 role models. That's 500,000 student athletes who can then spread the word to others. And we've got to start this cascade. You see, the words, it only takes one, have a double meaning. On one side, yes, it only takes one pill to kill. It only takes one bad decision. It only takes one bad person. And someone will die. But on the other side, it only takes one coach, one athletic director, one teammate, one parent, one mascot who takes off their ram head and puts it down if you're in DCU and says, hey, don't take that. It only takes one. It needs to wake us all up. That we personally have a responsibility to save lives. And this is what we're up to in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're spreading awareness. Last month, there were over 560,000 Virginians that were directly messaged, literally messaged with a text to say, it only takes one pill can kill, you can get the right help right now, it's time to get revive training. 560,000 Virginians in 1 month. Just think what we can all do. We're on a journey together. We're teammates. Our objective is really clear. With great transparency, I never want another mother or father to have to stand up in front of a group of people and tell the story of a child that was killed. It's a very, very straightforward goal. And it's one that we can realize if we all lock arms and work on this together. We have great leadership. I want to thank our cabinet. We got so many of our cabinet members here who work with us. I want to thank leadership from the universities, boards of visitors members from William and Mary. We've talked to all the university folks around here. Coaches are here. Coaches from our high schools, athletic directors, coaches from professional sports teams, coaches from AAU teams. Listen, AAU coaches, you mean as much to kids' lives when they're most influential you possibly believe. This is why we have to spread the word that it only takes one. So, that's our challenge. Our challenge is to take the first step, pull your student athletes together and tell them. It's a really short speech. You can die if you're stupid. Don't be stupid. It's a really short speech. Second chapter, there's bad people out there that are trying to do you harm. The third is, I love you, and I'm here to help you. If you've got a problem, if you've got trouble, come find me, because I deeply care about you and your future. That's a really simple preaching. Next thing you know, you have everybody in their orbit who understands the risks and understands how to combat it. That is how we beat fentanyl. By the way, if you want to call the General Assembly and tell them to sign my bill that fentanyl dealers that kill people should be charged with felony homicide, I'd greatly appreciate that. We've got work to do. The work we're going to do right now together is I think Secretary Littell is going to help us with a little question and answer. So people who have questions, we're going to answer them. You can hear from coaches who might be involved. You can hear from parents. You can hear from the First Lady who knows more about this than anybody on the planet. And I'll do my best to fill in the gaps. Second of all, we're going to have revive training. Doesn't take long at all. I mean, literally, this takes no time at all. As I said, it's literally like nasal spray. But you need to know what to do with someone who's had an overdose, how to roll them on their side, how to make sure that you've administered the full dose, and then how to call for help. It's that simple. You can save a life. And finally, we're going to remind everybody about the amazing privilege you have to be coaches, but the responsibility that comes with it. We've got to help every single one of the young men and women that trust you to get from point A to point B. Amazing coaches, transporting students through life. What a privilege it is. I told Suzanne that if I wasn't governor, I'd be a coach. I think she'd rather me be a coach. So with that, I just want to say thank you. God bless you. God bless for all that you do. And Secretary Littell, this microphone is supposedly on hooks, and you can go to work and helping us have a little conversation. Then we're going to take training, and then we're going to go to work.
Good afternoon. Rob and Tom, the Secretary of Health and Resources, I want to say thank you to everyone for being here today. It's pretty amazing when we get the governor and the first lady engaged in a specific issue. And I'm really grateful for the work that we have. Thank you, Tom, and Rob, and appreciate it. And so, anyone have any questions or comments, experiences that you'd like to share? We have a lot of our team here from the Commissioner of Health Department, the Education Secretary, so this is your chance.
Just a question. I'm a player here for this. My name is Dakota Barnes, and I'm a player here for the Richmond Kickers. My question would be, do you guys have any, I don't want to say like ambassador, might be the right word, but players that can, I guess, step up and be there as part of this and take part in a more formal way, in the sense of like going after your speeches or you know, like Instagram and stuff like that, because to be honest, it's where it comes from. Music is the biggest influence, like you said, it's being sold as Percocets because that's what you hear music all the time. So that's the easiest way that I can say it, is for people like myself, other players here, to get up and to say something on social media, because that's really where everybody's taking this in.
That's absolutely huge. And I think it's critical, and we would love to talk to you more about it. I would also challenge every coach here. I know that each of you identify those players on your teams who have special gifts in that area. They're either very social, or they're comical, or they're leaders in their own right. Please send them our way. This is an issue that affects everyone. Fentanyl does not discriminate. Doesn't care if you're old, young, rich, poor, rural, urban. It's affecting every single Virginian. And we could get a lot of influencers, like you say, out there with this message. We would be overjoyed.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so thank you. What a fabulous idea. And so the to-do out of this is every coach, we're going to ask you to find your team captain. Right? Your spread the word team captain. It'd be amazing to have some of those professional athletes engaged and to help us spread the word. And so everybody the team gets frustrated with me because I always come up with the do's after meetings. There's this is the to-do, and we can in fact translate into action very, very quick. And so each of you that's here is going to get a phone call afterwards or an email to understand who your point person is going to be, how we can feed them with a little bit of information and ask them to go to work. And then we can coordinate by amplifying that social media footprint and really touch everybody. What a great idea. It's sold. And now it's time for us to go to work. And this is not something that can wait 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is. And so my aspiration would be the next week for us to have some literally athlete ambassadors going to work with the right messaging to make sure that we can then amplify and we can go touch 8.7 million Virginians. And it was a great idea. Thank you. So that's all I'm here. Anybody else?
Keep it on with the same theme summer campaign plan. It's all about how you go up a lot of the camps that you're going to have, not only athletic camps, church camps, other camps that we're going through the summer. And the first lady's best at getting this out in the summer. People in those areas that keep convenient, looking at bush gardens, in terms of messaging, and getting people involved. As many people involved, basically dog pound, saturated in that.
So I'm going to have a friend of mine stand up. This is Calvin Dudley. Calvin. Figure out how we then leverage the coaches and some camp schedule to literally get, y'all know
come there, we register, we go through all the activities, but also these are some of the things we want to talk about and discuss. I do ball block this year. I started that. Our players are spokesmen for that because I've had 4 players that identify with passions. But you got to get involved. You got to be part of it. So that's a great idea, and I'm committed to do that for the high school kids.
And our Department of Health teams, these amazing women in their entire squad, they are here to do God anywhere. I mean, they can't be, they're only, some of them, but if you want a God training on campus, at your summer camp, in your church, wherever it is you want to have it, reach out to the First Lady's office or the Department of Health, or send an email. We will make sure they get on your schedule. You can invite parents to come, etc. It's critically important. It breaks down that notion that somehow this is awful and scary. It empowers people, and it gives you an opportunity. We also have digital ads and flyers you can put up, so we'll get those to you as well.
I have just a comment. I'm Steve Huber. I'm a member of the Board of Visitors of William & Mary. In our athletic department, we have a student athlete advisory committee. It's called SAC. And there may be a way, if you have a similar coordinating committee among your athletes at the various schools and colleges, that you can engage them with this as well.
I'm Christopher Lindsay with Virginia Department of Health. I just wanted to echo the First Lady's comments about the localities in Virginia, the availability that we have for naloxone. Every college, every high school is part of a local health district. We've got 35 local health districts in the state of Virginia. Every health district has a team of folks that is dedicated to going out, whether it be Medical Reserve Corps, whether it be staff at the Department of Health, helping consult with folks in the community about how easy it is to get naloxone training. So please reach out to the First Lady's office, reach out to me, reach out to your local health district, and we'd be more than happy to have folks come, help you have that conversation with your teams and give out naloxone to your teams and staff as well.
Okay, with that, first off, I want to thank everyone who put on today's event. Thank you again for hosting us here, and my whole team. I think my entire office is here to design things, but thank you all for the work that you did. We're going to do a quick Revive training. So Revive is the Commonwealth's training program for naloxone, and it was developed by the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, and they work very closely with local health units as well, and the CSDs to do this. It used to take an hour or longer, and they keep condensing it because of the government strike. But we're going to do a quick 10-minute one so everyone can see how easy it is. As Christopher and the governor said, we will go to all of you have an event, we will find something to come and do a training for your team, for your coaches, your athletic department, whatever it is. Getting Revive, getting naloxone out in the community, you will be amazed at how many people use it that you might not think, whether it's in a grocery store, on a field, wherever it is. So I'm going to turn it over to Tiana and Stephanie from the Department of Behavioral Health. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you all for being here and for the work that you do with our youth.
Yes, thank you so much, Secretary Littell. I am Tiana Vasquez. I'm the DHDS, as Secretary Littell mentioned, and this is Stephanie Diaz with Virginia Association Chief of Police. So she's going to go over some quick legislation behind this. Yes, it used to be, not that it used to be an hour long, it is an hour long, right? But of course, I'm going to take every second I can with you guys, right? One thing is that you guys will be getting information of trainers in your area, Revive trainers in your area as well. And I handpicked all of them for you guys. I sent them an email, I called all the trainers and I said, hello, it's me. And then they already know I'm asking for something, but they're all very excited. I just want to let you guys know that now. So they're expecting emails from you all. Also, I wrote some points down. This is really quick and I will do a very quick, training for you all. It's nothing too crazy. But we're talking about fentanyl here today. And I've done a lot of trainings with, our young adults, right? And one of the biggest questions I asked them, I said, can someone tell me what an opioid is? And they're like, cocaine. And I'm like, no, but great effort, So one of the biggest things is education. That's why our trainings are an hour long, and I would recommend for all of us to kind of participate if you have the time, because we want to get more information to you guys, right? How can we share something if we don't know about it, if we don't know in depth what it looks like? You know, brief overviews of what substance use disorder looks like. What are opioids? You know, we go over charts of what an opioid is. It's not just fentanyl, right? It's oxycodone, Percocet, the list goes on. So we teach that as well. We go really talk about everything just to put things into perspective to make it less scary. Yes, this is something that can happen very suddenly, but we want people to get comfortable in the conversation. We're trying to break that stigma. A lot of times when I tell people what I do for work, they're like, oh, well, that's cool. And I'm like, hey, do you want to participate? You want some naloxone? And they're like, well, no, I don't know people that do that. Right? So I'm very glad that it was touched on earlier today, that it's not always with someone with a substance use disorder, right? It does take that one time, unfortunately, and I've heard too many stories of that. So this is my passion, right? And I'm very, grateful to be here with you all. And another thing I wrote notes because my mind is like a squirrel. There are a whole other bunch of initiatives going on, right, that we have going. Two, our kickers, gentlemen. I am the Revive education specialist, and if you want a quick training, I got you. You know, I could do a training for you and your teammates, no problem at all. So I'm already putting that out there. Also, Perfect Crisis, right? That's also a social media platform that we already have going on. So you guys are more than welcome to share that. I think one of our videos just launched today in regards to that, doing a quick training of what I'm about to show you all today. Alrighty, and okay, that's it. So, what does an opioid overdose look like? A lot of people think, well, how would I know the difference? Honestly, an opioid overdose, what happens is our receptors, we have opioid receptors on our brain. This is the most scientific I'll ever get, and they get blocked by the opioids. There's too many in our system. Once our receptors are blocked, it ends up affecting our breathing specifically, right? Our breathing slows down, eventually stops, and then what happens? Yeah, we're not breathing anymore, and then that leads to fatality of overdose, right? So that's what happened. Not all overdoses are fatal, but for the most part, when fentanyl's involved, it is, right? So here we are learning about naloxone to step in. So our breathing slows down. So if we come upon someone that's unconscious, we're not sure what happened, or even if we did see what they took, right? We want to check for breathing. So what we'll do is put our ear down and then check to see if their chest is rising or falling, right? And then we want to see, are they responsive too? So we're going to do the sternum rub. Has anyone done the CPR classes? Yes, we know the sternum rub. We're going to do that. Very similar. So the sternum rub, pinching their earlobe, right? I know, can you guys see? Sternum rub, this is Mandy. Pinching the earlobe, shouting their name, and tapping them. We want to make sure we don't do anything that's too aggressive. I've had people on my training say, yeah, just pick them up, throw them, or kick them, slap them, they'll wake up. Let's not do that, okay? And then, of course, the first, honestly, we're like, okay, they're not responding, they're barely breathing. Calling 911. First thing, call for help. Let them know your location first, and then we let them know what's happening, right? So they're already on the way. I tell everybody, be as specific as you can, okay? I'm in this apartment, and the entrance is through the back door to the left with 3 guard dogs. Be as specific as you can so they can get to you. And then once we check for responsiveness, we call 911. If we need to leave them alone for any reason, maybe we have to clear the area for emergency services to come, right? We want to put them on their side, and I can't do this with this guy, but what we'll do is roll them over to their left side, and then we'll place their arm like this, right? And then their leg, the top leg, will kind of be bent over, right? So we're trying to keep them from rolling on their stomach and then staying on their back, because if they do end up vomiting, right, we don't want them to choke on that. So that's if we have to leave them for any reason. Now we have our nasal spray that everyone's getting today, if you would like, right? We will place it, this is the demonstrator, right? So we open up the packaging, and this here is 1 dose, okay? Very important to know, this here is 1 dose. We place it between our fingers, thumb on the plunger, and then we place it into the nostril, right? Get all the way up in there where you kind of form a seal with your fingers, and then you do one firm push, you're gonna hear a click, and it's gonna release. And that's it. Once you push it once, it's empty. And each box comes 2 of these, okay? So once we administer this, we wait 1 to 3 minutes for the naloxone to take effect, all right? Naloxone is a medication, so I do say, hey, let's not store it in our cars, right? Because it is a medication, keep it on your person. But it's very helpful. So we're waiting the 1 to 3 minutes. If the person isn't breathing, then we'll do rescue breaths. These blue bags have face shields, 2 face shields, 2 pair of gloves, and instructional cards going over everything I'm talking about today. We place it in the mouth. We tilt the head back. I know everyone can't see. Can you hold it up? Sorry. Thank you, Stephanie. We tilt the head back, pinch the nose, and then we do 1 breath every 5 seconds. If they do not respond within 3 minutes, if they're not breathing on their own yet, or if they don't wake up, we don't have to wait for them to wake up. Even just breathing on their own is very good. But if we don't see that, then we can administer the 2nd dose, okay? And then we wait the 1 to 3 minutes after that. If they do come to and start breathing on their own, naloxone works for about 30 to 90 minutes, okay? And then the emergency services crew can do their job afterwards, but it allows that time in between. What I tell people, I emphasize to our young adults, this is a opioid reversal, right? And I have them talk to me, and I said, so what does that mean? Does naloxone work before or after an opioid overdose? After, yeah. Let's get engaged. Get them engaged. You know, it's more fun. And for me, I like that too. It's fun for me. So that's how we administer the naloxone. And of course, we want to be mindful, especially if someone is an active user. They may wake up in withdrawal. So the best thing to do is give them space, okay? And let them know what's happening. Let them know that we called for help. And then Stephanie, real quick, is going to go over the 2 laws that we have in place in regards to administering naloxone.
So when it comes to reporting, there are 2 laws that are really relevant to this. The first law is the safe reporting law. We don't want people to be afraid to report that there's an overdose. We don't want them to be afraid that they're going to get arrested because they've been drinking and they're underage or they have some substances on them. So we have what is called, we commonly refer to the safe reporting law. So if somebody calls up and reports an overdose, they will not be arrested for possession of controlled substances, possession or consumption or unlawful purchase of alcohol or marijuana, public intoxication, or possession of controlled paraphernalia. They do need to stay with the person who's overdosing and identify themselves to law enforcement when law enforcement arrives, but they will not be arrested for those reasons. The other important thing what we want you to know, because this is Fentanyl Awareness Day, fentanyl, there are things that are called fentanyl test strips. And those are readily available at all college campuses throughout the Commonwealth. Law enforcement, the college and the campus police do have them and will give them out to you. Any student can go and ask for fentanyl test strips, and they are available, and they are free. And it is a great way to keep the students safe. We don't want you to use any substances, but if you do, we want you to stay alive. We want you to make it to the next day to hopefully make a better decision. And so the other law that I wanted to bring up is that fentanyl test strips are not considered paraphernalia. They are legal to have on you, legal to possess and to give out. So that is really important to know. Please share that with all of your students. And that's all I have on those laws.
All right, so, yeah? Yes, sir.
Other thing too, just to stress, is that naloxone does not cause any harm to a human being. So if you come upon someone who is unresponsive and you think, well, maybe this person had a heart attack, maybe this person had a heat stroke, maybe something else. Administering naloxone does not have any negative effect of it. So you're better off going through the steps and administering it than being worried that you would be doing something that would harm them.
Yes, thank you for emphasizing
And that's
that.
a really important caveat to the nasal test.
Yes, and there is a reason why I mentioned the cocaine in the first place, because of that, right? Because sometimes we can't see the fentanyl. You know, if we don't know what's happening. So everything's being laced with fentanyl, right? So again, yes, to administer naloxone, just when in doubt, just go ahead and do it. That'd be very helpful. Yes, sir.
What is the shelf life of naloxone? Do you give it to us every months, year,
Yeah, so on the box, and even if you take the naloxone out of the box, on the packaging of the naloxone itself, there's an expiration date, 3 years.
Get obviously naloxone from local community service boards, the Virginia Department of Health. It's also available over the counter, but there is a cost to that. This will be given to you free of charge.
Yes, yeah. Today everyone's getting it for free, but if we go back and talk to our friends, our family, right, it's very helpful to let them know that they can get it at their local Kroger, pharmacy, and whatnot. A lot of people get discouraged because they're like, whoa, it's like 45 or 55 bucks. And then they're like, whoa, that's a lot, right? And I'm like, well, how many times we spend that on just going out to eat, right? And even then, before it was over the counter, out-of-pocket cost was actually about $140. So 140 compared to the 45, 55, I think that's a big deal. To save a life, huh? Yeah. Someone else had a hand up? I'm sorry.
Yeah, as we start to slow for training, is there a specific number, is it max that is allowed to be trained at one time? What number should we be looking at as far as the training?
Yeah, so with Revive, we say about 30, but that's like not like if there's 50 people signed up, we're not going to say don't show up, right? We say about 30 people or so because in this room itself, this is more comfortable for people to ask questions, right? We can have, it's more intimate, that's what we're kind of looking for, but of course, I've been to places where they're like, yeah, there's about 25, and then there was 80, and I'm like, this is wonderful, I love it, I wasn't mad at it, but if we can, you know, have, if anything, have more people there to help answer questions afterwards, right? Because we don't want to leave anyone out.
We've done naloxone training for entire high schools. And so hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids at one time. I have to say, every time we're with high school students, the number one thing we hear is, I didn't know about naloxone. I mean, not about fentanyl. I didn't know how deadly it was. I didn't know that it was in the cartridge for my vape. I didn't know that it shows up in Percocet. I didn't know that. That's the number one thing we hear over and over. So, yes, sir, another question.
We actually have a video here, so if you scan the QR code, it'll show you a video of how it works. So really what you do is take some of the powder and mix it with a cap full of water, and put the fentanyl test strip in there, and you're going to sit there for 2 minutes, and then it'll show you one line if there's a presence of fentanyl, and 2 lines if there's no presence of fentanyl. And it doesn't tell you how much fentanyl is in it, it just shows you that there is the presence of fentanyl in that drug, that substance.
Can I just share one more thing? I'm so sorry. Especially when it comes to the young adults and us as us. I always emphasize, as mentioned with the fentanyl, I give an example. I'm a very visual person. Someone up here said they're visual. I'm one of them. And I say, hey, has anyone made chocolate chip cookies before, right? And then they're like, yeah, I love chocolate chip cookies. I'm like, yeah, you have the batter, you have the chocolate chips, you scoop them out, whatever, and put it in the oven, and then you take them out. Everyone has one. I have one, you have one, you have one. Do I know how many chocolate chips are mine? Is it the same as yours? Do we? No. And that's what's happening when they're making these pills, right? The street pills, right? It's all in the same batch. And I tell, our young adults, I say, hey, you might have been fine for you because it was okay, and then here you are giving it to your friend, and then it's from the same batch, but it has like enough fentanyl to kill like 4 people, right? So that kind of puts a visual of like, hey, you just don't know, right? So that chocolate chip thing, if you guys want to run with that or make your own analogy, that's
Okay, no more questions. Yeah, please.
I know you said that one press is a whole dose, but how many doses are in those?
One. Once you press
One
it,
press,
it's done.
so you have to have another one if they needed another hit.
Yes, and each box comes with 2 size. And then you do the intramuscular, this is what it looks like for those who are comfortable, but everyone today, they're getting the nasal spray.
Amazing. Thank you all. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your willingness to be part of the team. happen.